Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music.
What is up, y'all? It's your boy RB3, and I'm here on First Cut to bring you a new review for the next installment of Steve McQueen's Small Axe series on Amazon. Now, we've already covered Mangrove, and Sabrina did a review for Lovers Rock, but I'm here today to bring you a review of the John Boyega starring Red, White, and Blue. Ice Cube wrote one of hip-hop's definitive protest songs in 1998's F the Police. Now, 26 years later, Mr. Cube co-starred with Kevin Hart in Ride Along, where he plays top police officer James Patton. But that was only the first of two cop characters Ice Cube played in the year 2014. The second actually came in the 2014 sequel to 21 Jump Street, titled 22 Jump Street, where he portrayed police captain Dickerson in both installments. So what changed in our society where the author of F the Police is now openly playing lovable cop characters on screen? The answer? Hollywood. The industry has been grappling with how to accurately portray law enforcement on screen for decades. From the LAPD sponsored 1948 film He Walked by Night spawned the genesis of the police procedural genre that put the police as the de facto hero in every prominent crime story. The cop dramas and buddy comedies that ruled television and film during the 80s and the 90s programmed audiences to look at the police as idols and heroes to the community. And while some viewers may have brought into the hype of Hollywood's pro-cop propaganda, folks in disenfranchised Black and brown communities had a different perception of law enforcement. When the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor sparked an ethical debate between the role of the police versus the role of the policed, an international outcry for racial equality emerged. Now, sweeping progressive movements like defund the police and reforming the criminal justice system are now commonplace in mainstream discussion. From the civil rights movement of the 1960s to the fight to end apartheid in South Africa in the 1980s, the fight against oppression has been a constant struggle across the Black diaspora around the world. But one struggle that hasn't received as much cinematic representation is the oppression of the West Indian community in Great Britain. Amazon Prime has rolled out a collection of Small Axe films that looks at the various social injustices imposed upon the West Indian population in London. All of these episodes are directed and co-written by Academy Award-winning director Steve McQueen. Red, White, and Blue is the third installment that stars John Boyega as Leroy Logan, a real London Metropolitan Police officer who joined the force after his father was attacked and beaten up by a squad of cops. His mission to reform the police system from within resulted in Logan founding the Black Police Association in the UK. Black acting legends like Sidney Poitier, Danny Glover, Eddie Murphy, and Will Smith all made their mainstream star turns playing police officers and detectives. Yet between 2017's Detroit and Steve McQueen's Red, White, and Blue, it's clear that John Boyega wants to take a different approach to law enforcement on film. He made headlines this summer when he expressed his frustrations being tied to a big machine like Star Wars. In a viral GQ interview, he discussed how the studio system is not the most intuitive place for protest and dissenting authority. But for Boyega, sitting on the sidelines during civil unrest just couldn't fly. And though the movie was filmed well before the crew began making press runs, you can see that passion and fight for change within Boyega's portrayal of Leroy Logan. He delivers a career-defining performance that is equally charismatic and emotional. Boyega's natural swagger lends Leroy Logan a little extra sympathy for the audience, but still pulls no punches on the emotions. When his character first sees his father beaten to a pulp in the hospital, we feel that pain and rawness that the Attack the Block star can bring. Subsequently, in the scene where Leroy's family discovers his new job, the quarrel between the father and the son evokes that same intensity that many of those strenuous career conversations tend to have on families. But tragedy and hurt aren't the only layers we see from Boyega. He flexes his range in moments of resentment towards other officers, notably when he vents his anger after they ignore his call for backup. Boyega's performance might have not soared as high without the uncompromising direction of Steve McQueen. We see Mr. Logan pushed to the edge, both mentally and physically at the edge of the frame. The use of lengthier takes and fewer cuts strips the glossy Hollywoodisms away. Red, White, and Blue also employs a relatively small amount of original music score, which is typically a director's tool to manipulate emotions from the viewer. However, in this film, McQueen presents an honest, authentic look at the 80s London scene and the virulent fury of racial injustice. The Black Lives Matter The Black Lives Matter era has amplified the world's exposure to racial injustice through cell phone cameras and social media. As a result, we are now in an age of the postmodern police procedural, where authority can be called into question by the power of cinema. Steve McQueen utilizes that power throughout the entirety of the Small Axe series to show audiences the plight that various marginalized West Indian community members had to overcome. Whether it was through the courtroom drama of Mangrove or the musical enchantment of Lovers Rock, this series finds entertaining and impactful ways to highlight history that's been long overlooked. Red, White, and Blue is no exception, as it paints an all too true picture of fighting within the system seeking to bring you down. Boyega provides a show-stopping performance in one of Steve McQueen's finest directorial efforts. Salute to Amazon Prime for giving this series a platform and advocating for change. And that is it from my review of Red, White, and Blue. If you liked it, be sure to leave comments down below. Tell me what you think about this film. If you have checked out the Small Axe series on Amazon, and if you have watched this one, let me know in the comments down below. What did you think? I personally think this is some of the best stuff of the year. I don't know if it's a TV show or if it's a movie. I mean, you know, it's kind of blurring that lines, but I do think it deserves to be celebrated. And we are going to continue to bring you more reviews from the Small Axe series coming up more throughout the month of December. So with that, it's your boy RB3. And I'm peacing out. Peace out, y'all.
Only one can remain.